Let's talk the club. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the color. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube platform, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, and the Let's Talk to Cutler. Let's spend these 1800 seconds together on this Tuesday. It is September the 23rd, 2025, and I hope that you all are having a fantastic week so far. I always say that. I know it's Tuesday, but the week takes off so far, and technically this is the third day of the week because it was Sunday, Monday, and now we're here Tuesday, and I hope things are going well. We're moving into the autumn time of the year, the fall time of the year, when the leaves are changing and things. Things are just so beautiful and orange and golden and red and all those different colors. And I just hope that you are having a great day. As you are coming into the chat room, do me a favor, say hi to everybody. And if you're new, make sure you let me know where you're watching from so we can send a shout out your way and a shout out to your area. I want to say thank you for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come into. I appreciate that. And if you're wondering what this platform is about, if this is your first time, I just want you to know that this platform is not about somebody done me wrong. It's not about political opinions. It's not about anything pessimistic. It's not about anything that's negative, but it is about inspiration and motivation and about challenging ourselves to show up the best version of ourselves that we can. In other words, showing up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Now is the time that try men's souls, because there's so many things that cause us to potentially come out of our character, that could cause us to check our integrity. But it is my hope that by way of having these conversations, you really have an anchor in your soul. You have an anchor about who you are, and your anchor really does more than just a song, but your anchor holds and grips a solid rock that does not cause you to sway and does not cause you to drift away from who you are, but it causes you to be solid. It causes you to be resolute. It causes you to be stern in who you are. So that way you're not swayed by every wind of doctrine, and you're not moved by things that come quickly in the transitions of life. You are true to yourself. Know who you are. So why don't you invite somebody to come on and let's talk to Cutler, because this evening we're going to talk about the power of forgiveness. I had an earlier conversation this week and it just resonated with me. And I was on another platform last evening. I shared some information about the power of forgiveness. And I thought, what a wonderful conversation, what a wonderful topic to share with my friends here on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform this evening. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to talk about the power of forgiveness. But before I do, I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs, those who were the first 3 who hopped into the chat. And even before I get to them, I want to invite those of you who have not done so to go ahead and subscribe. And after you subscribe, click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live, as I am now. It lets you know whenever I have uploaded new content. And I don't know where that bell is on your device, whether it's up, down, east, west, north, south, I'm not sure, but wherever it is, find that notification bell and click on it so you will be notified whenever I go live. Now, from my perspective, the first 3 people in the chat room this evening who showed up in the chat room, there are others logging in. I can see that. But for those who are the first 3 on the chat, Annie Cutler, who says, let's ride. Come on, let's ride. That's right. We're going to have an interesting conversation that's going to take us somewhere this evening. And then there's Linda Martin, who says, good evening to everyone. After Linda Martin, let's round it out with a good evening from Audrey Dixon. So it's good to see all of you. And then, as I'm saying, let me know where you're watching from. Let's see. McDonough says, I'm in Rehoboth Beach. Let's see. Best time of the year. The tourists are gone to next June. The tourists are gone to next June. Yeah, Rehoboth is very, very popular with the tourists. And so now I guess you have your quiet beach back home, and so you don't have to deal with the tourist. But let's chit chat for just a moment, you all, about the power of forgiveness. I was having a conversation. I was thinking about being able to show up your best self. As I often say that, this platform is to inspire. and it is to motivate, and it is also designed to challenge us to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And the question is, how do I do that? How do I continuously show up my best self, even in the worst of situations? How do I make sure that I'm pleased with myself? I'm pleased with the person that shows up when life is happening. I'm pleased with the person that shows up when things would otherwise get me down. I'm pleased with the person who shows up when I could find myself having anxiety. I'm pleased with the person that shows up when my response otherwise would not be nice, would not be kind, would not be normal, and it really would be to my detriment. How can I be pleased with the person who shows up? One of the ways you can be pleased with the person who shows up is learning how to let go of stuff. Just learning how to let go of stuff. There is so much power in letting go. There is so much power in releasing. There is so much power in getting stuff off your chest, getting it out of your heart, getting it out of your hand. There is so much power in that. And I think we downplay that a lot. We don't really talk about the power of forgiveness. But may I suggest to you, there is so much power in forgiveness. And simply forgiving, there is a lot of power. Because when you don't forgive, you have to remind yourself of why you harbor these negative opinions and why you harbor these negative feelings. When you don't forgive, you're always reminding yourself, when you see a person or a thing or a triggering incident, why am I still in a funk about this? So the power of forgiveness, it really speaks to your ability to help you. It speaks to your ability to bring about changes, significant healing. That's really what it is. It's this physical healing. It is this emotional healing. It's this psychological healing. It really is, because forgiveness is not just a passive kind of thing, but you have to actively forgive people. You have to actively, consciously, conscientiously forgive people. I want to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, you all talk to me, if you would. How easy is it for you to forgive people, with 1 being very easy, 1 being very easy, 10 being very difficult? How easy is it for you to forgive people? 1 is very easy, 10 is very difficult. All right. And if you would share that, and I want us to be honest, because a lot of times people wrestle with unforgiveness. And that's a real issue. We see things that are taking place now. We see people with things that are taking place now in in our society, in the educational arena, in the political arena, in the religious arena, in the industrial arena. We see things that are taking place that cause us potentially to harbor unforgiveness, or at least to struggle with, how am I going to forgive? When am I going to forgive? Why am I going to forgive? When will I be ready, willing, and able to forgive? We have so many things that challenge our set of social values, things that challenge sometimes the core of who we are, things that cause us to look at people a different way and say, oh, so you just showed your true colors. All right. So, and though there are those kinds of things, and we struggle and we really do wrestle with unforgiveness. All right. McDonald says, an old saying is, if you don't forgive, it's like taking poison and hoping to hurt others. That is so very true. And I want us to take a real look at that this evening, you all. Forgiveness is actively and conscientiously and consciously deciding to let go of negative feelings that we have toward people who have wronged us. And when we let go, so let me just go back to that. Forgiveness is actively, consciously, and conscientiously deciding to let go. I'm making a decision. I am intentional about letting go of negative feelings about someone who has wronged me, who has hurt me, who has damaged me, who has offended me, who has upset me. You make the decision to release those negative feelings. Now, I'm not saying that you then have to lay hold to and cling to positive feelings of love and adoration and all of that. But the truth of the matter is, let go of those negative feelings. We need to learn to let go of the negative feelings against the people, toward the people who have done you wrong. It does not mean, in letting go of those negative feelings, it does not mean that the person was right in what they did and what he or she did. It doesn't mean that at all. But you have to learn to let it go. Why would you say that, Cutler? Because in the outset, I need you to understand that when you let go of that stuff, it will reduce stress. It will reduce anxiety. It will reduce depression. It will help your blood pressure. It will boost your immune system. It would do so much for you. It is a way to heal yourself and not necessarily to excuse the harm that was done by the other person. May I say this to you? When you forgive other people, you are not excusing the harm that they did. You're not saying it's okay for you to do what you did. No. You're not saying that. You're saying, I'm letting go of this negative feeling, because if I keep harboring this negative feeling, there's this connection there's this power that I'm giving you over me, and you're not that important for me to give you that much power over my life. Absolutely not. I want us to understand that. Forgiveness does not say to the other person, you were right. It does not say to the other person, you're getting away with something. But it says to you, the individual who decides to forgive, that, you know what, I need to release this for my own good. Because when I don't forgive, it means that there's this invisible binder, this invisible chain, this invisible shackle that that's connecting you to me. And I don't want to be connected to you any longer. So I forgive you and I release you. I release those negative feelings. I'm looking at what you're saying. Let's see. One, it may take me a while, but eventually I forgive and move on. It helps me just as much as it does the person I forgive. And the truth of the matter is, Audrey, it may not help the other person at all, but it will help you. It helps you to sleep better, be able to put your head on the pillow at night and go to sleep. Let's see, McDonald. One, forgive others. Sometimes people don't know what harm they give. What harm they give. Hurt people try to hurt others, and I do believe that hurt people, and sometimes they know, sometimes they don't, and it helps us to forgive. Let's see, K Sharp. Good evening, Cutler Chat. My take on forgiveness is an intentional act to release a hurt or fault, even if I did it to myself. I rate myself 6 or 7 on forgiving myself and others. And you know what? Thank you so much for that point, because you said a mouthful. It is an intentional act to release a hurt or a fault, even if I did it to myself, because sometimes we need to forgive ourselves. Oh my goodness, that in and of itself is a whole, let's talk to Cutler Chat, how to forgive ourselves. And we've talked about it on this platform, but just as you've learned to forgive other people, learn how to forgive yourself. Release the negative feelings that you have against yourself. Oh, I ain't never gonna be another anger mountain, nothing. I deserve that. No. Learn to forgive yourself. It is a way of releasing those negative feelings against the people who wrong you. Sometimes we wrong ourselves. It's just learning how to let go and release those negative feelings. And sometimes along with the feelings, you're releasing the people and the things and the situations and the triggers. You have to learn how to release, because that will lead you to better mental health. It will lead you to better physical health. It will sometimes improve your relationships, because a lot of times you can't develop a healthy relationship because you're carrying so much negativity and garbage and baggage. It will increase your ability to have a stronger sense of well-being, because you won't focus on your health. You won't focus on your well-being because you're so busy focusing on the offender and the offense. I'm just trying to help us, you all. I really, really am. When you learn how to forgive, it gives you this freedom from holding grudges and bitterness. Because have you ever run into people, generations after generations after generations in family, you find people who don't like each other and they don't even know why, but they've learned how to harbor grudges and bitterness and unforgiveness because my mama did and my grandmama did and my great granddaddy did. We need to learn how to stop that and release those negative feelings. I'm telling you, just learning to let go of stuff, because you're saying to the other person and the other individual or the other thing, you don't have that much power over me. Have you ever run into people who are just negative all the time? Have you ever run into angry people? Have you ever run into miserable people? Have you ever run into people when you don't know if you don't gonna get you're not sure whether you're going to encounter Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? People who are just moody, people who are just angry, people who are just upset, people that you don't want to be around. Angry, bitter people all the time, snapping people, cutting them off, doing all that kind of stuff. I dare say that those people are holding on to something that's causing all that bitterness. I dare say that there's something, somebody, some situation that they need to learn to release and forgive and let go. My past dreams didn't all come into fruition, didn't all come into manifestation. So guess what? There are things that maybe influence that. I just have to learn to let it go. Because the true benefits of forgiveness are many, you all. It really will help your mental health. It will reduce the anxiety. It will reduce the depression, and it will increase your peace of mind. It will increase when you forgive, it will increase your peace of mind. I'm a peaceful person because I think I'm a peaceful person because I've learned to let go of so much stuff that would otherwise cause me not to be so at peace. When you learn to forgive, it helps your physicality. It really does. It increases and improves your physical health. Your heart, your blood pressure is not high or low. It just keeps your body at an even pace. You don't end up harboring all these chronic pains and things in your body as a result of unforgiveness. Because when you harbor that stuff, you have to harbor it somewhere. And trust me when I tell you this, your body knows when you're carrying anxiety. Your body knows. And many of us are carrying anxiety in our body, and our body is telling us, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Have you ever seen people who sometimes at the end of the day, they just crash and burn for no reason? It's not like they worked hard. It's not like they exhausted themselves. It's not like they look like they have any reason to be so fatigued. But a lot of times your body is saying you're carrying too much stress. There are some things that you need to learn to release and learn to let go. There is, I just need to post this up because I certainly agree, K Sharp. There is spiritual growth that comes with forgiveness. Absolutely. There's growth. And I would dare say, thank you, my friend. I would dare say not just spiritual growth, but there is emotional growth, there's psychological growth. There could be a physiological improvement in your health just with releasing, just with forgiving. Because you have to make sure that you don't harbor that stuff. Be not, one passage that I love, it says, be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger rests in the bosom of a fool. I didn't say that. It's just one of my favorite passages. But we need to learn to let stuff go. Be not hasty to hold on to stuff whereby you're always angry. You're always bitter. People don't know whether or not, they don't know if you're going to smile or cuss at them. They just don't know what's going to happen. They can't read you. They don't understand you. They really don't want to be around you. Because you're carrying so much. And if you released some of this, you wouldn't have to carry so much. But another benefit of forgiveness is not only improving your mental health, not only helping your physical health, but again, it helps with relationships because now people know they have a more peaceful person to deal with. I have a more positive person to deal with. I'm dealing with someone who has a great sense of well-being, who's not so vexed by everything. But someone who has learned to let things go. And when you learn to let things go, you're a healthier and more wholesome person. It gives you this freedom, this peace of mind. And you say, I don't have to hold a grudge because I've learned to let things go, because holding a grudge is just not good for me emotionally, physically, or any other way. What it does when you forgive, it helps you to shift your mindset. It helps you to shift your focus from negative experiences to more positive and optimistic things that are going on in your life. A lot of times we cannot see the positive things because we're focused on the negative. We can't see the good because we're focused on the bad. We can't see the optimistic because we're focused on the pessimistic. I'm telling you, it is making an active decision to say, no, I want what's good for me, what's good in my life, what's wholesome for my life. I need to let go of that other stuff because guess what? A lot of times those people who offended you, they've moved on and they don't even know what you're going through. Not only do they don't know, let me help somebody. Not only do they don't know, a lot of times they don't even care. And so you're walking around carrying an offense that was created by somebody who doesn't know and doesn't even care that you're carrying that offense. And then when they see you or you see them, you have to live that all over again. You have to get into that mindset. You have to get into that space to say to yourself, now that I see X, Y, or Z, I see Jane or Joe, I have to put on my negative persona all over again. And you have to carry that stuff all over again. When the truth of the matter is they moved on and they forgot all about that stuff. They moved on and they forgot all about that stuff. And then may I say this when it comes to learning how to forgive yourself. A lot of times life has gone on and the offenses that you created against yourself, nobody recalls, nobody remembers, nobody recognizes, and you're still harboring all that unforgiveness toward yourself, and nobody remembers but you. And guess what? If nobody remembers but you need to learn how to bury that stuff and let it go. Keep on moving. Let it become like snakeskin. Shed it and keep on going. Forgiveness is powerful because it's not about the other person, but it is about you. It is about the strength and the power that you have in your ability to release yourself from this pain and from this hurtful situation and this offense. Again, a lot of times the reason people are miserable and angry and nasty is because they have not released themselves from the pain of the negativity that they dealt with in the past. A lot of times we are miserable and angry and nasty because we have not released ourselves, sometimes from the very pain that we cause ourselves. It's an active choice. It is an active decision. We have to make the active choice and the active decision to let go of the negative feelings. Do I remember the incident? Do I remember the person? Do I remember the stuff? Absolutely. But I'm making a decision, a conscious decision to let it go, regardless of whether that person deserved it or not. I've learned to let it go. And see, we vacillate and deal with, well, do they deserve to be forgiven? Do you? Absolutely. Just let it go. And that is not the most important thing, trying to decide whether or not they deserve it. There are a whole lot of things where people are wondering if we deserve them or not. But you have to make the active choice to let stuff go. I'm only trying to help us tonight. I really am. And so I hope the tone of my voice is not belittling, but I'm trying to get us to the point where just learn to let things go. Just learn to let it go. Because it releases you from the power that you gave people. Sometimes you've given people the power and they don't even know they have it. And when we end up harboring grudges and stuff, it leads to this long-term bitterness. It leads to this long-term misery. But if we forgive, we can release that stuff. So again, I'm not suggesting that you're going to forget. Because forgiveness does not mean that you're forgetting. It does not mean that you're excusing anybody. I need to keep repeating this and reiterating this point. Well, I'm just not going to forgive him because, I remember when the dog bit me the last time. You can remember when the dog bit you. In fact, some of us still have scars. Some of us are carrying scars from where people offended us, where people hurt us, where people trespassed us, where people did us wrong. Some of us are still carrying the scars, and the problem is that sometimes we're looking at the scars and we're remembering. But here is the beauty of it all. The beauty is that when you can look at the scars, still see and forgive. Good God Almighty. When you can still look at the scars and see the scars, remember and still forgive. It's a choice I am releasing myself. If we look at forgiveness as this, I am releasing myself from the pain that somebody else inflicted. It's releasing yourself from the control that they had. I'm releasing myself. It means I'm sitting here. I've got the key in my hand. And a lot of times we are sitting in proverbial jail cells and prison cells, and we have the keys and we can just put the key in and walk out. But we won't do that. We'll still sit in that jail cell and we'll complain, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. He did me wrong. She did me wrong. It did me wrong. They did me wrong. All of those sorts of things. But we can walk out. We can walk out because we have the keys in our hands, and it would be an amazing testimony if you walk out of that emotional space with the keys in your hands and with the scars on yourself and say, you know what? I am an overcomer. I am greater than this situation. I'm not better than anybody else, but I'm better than this situation. It was a part of my journey. For me, you all, may I suggest, I'm getting ready to be very, very transparent. May I suggest to you that there are things that happened in my life, and those things that happened in my life were not necessarily good things, or good encounters, or good situations, but I got some scars. And with those scars, I got some wisdom. And I got enough so that I could be able to tell a story to somebody else who's coming behind me to help them learn how to deal with those things. I learned forgiveness from my mother. She modeled it. She taught me the importance of, she said, baby, some stuff you just got to learn to let go. And I learned that from her. Some stuff you just can't do anything about. A lot of times we are frustrated with people because I will forgive them, but they're not going to change. You know what? Whether or not you forgive them, whether you forgive them or not, they still may not change. If you don't forgive them, do you think they're going to change? If you do forgive them, do you think they're going to change? Let's not. We don't have the power to make people change. Neither do people have the power to make you change. So let's just learn how to forgive and keep on going. What does it look like, Cutler? What does forgiveness look like? I'm so glad you asked. I don't have a lot of time, but I need to tell us and walk us through the process. What does it look like? It means that you acknowledge, yes, I was hurt. Yes, there was pain. Yes, there was an offense. It caused me pain. It caused me grief. It caused me anxiety. Acknowledge the hurt. Don't sweep it under a rug. Identify what specific emotion you're dealing with. Did it make me angry? Did it make me sad? Did it make me afraid? What did it do? And without judgment, you have to identify the emotion that you were dealing with. Because you can't suppress it. Because suppressing your emotions is just like creating this mound under a rug that you're one day going to trip over. And then after you have acknowledged the hurt and you've identified what emotion it caused in you, you say, let me make sure that I understand what's going on here. Let me see if I can put this all together. Did I have a role in this? And even if you didn't have a role in it, you say, all right, now let me make sure that I can understand, or at least seek to understand this person who caused this. Maybe they acted out of their own pain. It does not make it right. McDonald said it earlier. Hurt people hurt people. Maybe they acted out of their own pain, or out of their own limitations, or out of their own ignorance. One of the things that I discovered that hurt me was when there were certain things ways that I hoped people would treat me. And so when that doesn't happen, people are not always going to be you in a situation. Let me say that again. Stop expecting people to be you in situations. There's only one you. You can be an identical twin, but there's only one you. So stop expecting people to be you in these situations. And that's what I was doing. I was expecting people to be me in these situations. I thought my family members would think like I thought. I thought my siblings would respond like I responded. But that's not the way of the world. That is not the way of the world. And so some of the times you realize that people have limitations in terms of how they respond. They have environmental influences in terms of how they respond. So a lot of times it doesn't mean that you agree with them, but at least try to understand what's going on. Where were they coming from when they did that? Maybe they spoke or did what they did out of a space or place of ignorance. And then you decide to forgive. You make the conscious choice, the internal decisions, the intentional act to let go of. Because when you don't let go of, guess what it does? It causes a deficit in your soul. When you don't release, I got to get out of here, you all, but when you don't forgive, it causes a deficit or a deficiency in your soul. Learn how to let go of the pain. Learn how to let go of the anxiety. Learn how to let go of the resentment. And you can keep doing this. It's a process that you learn and you learn and you learn. You learn how to release your thoughts. You learn how to do that over and over and over. It is a practice. You learn how to put it in practice. And when you put it in practice, then you set boundaries that people can no longer trespass and transgress. And then you learn, after you set boundaries, you learn how to move on with freedom and compassion. You learn how to embrace forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others. You learn how to move on with compassion, self-love, self-care, self-compassion. I love myself too much to allow myself to be transgressed again or allow myself to be trespassed again, even if I'm trespassing my own self. So you move forward. I just wanted to share that with us this evening. I wanted to share that because there is power. That's all I'll say. There is power in forgiveness of others and forgiveness of self. Let's keep doing what we're doing, you all. I may have to come back and talk about this again because, listen, it's coming up over the holidays. If you're not careful, people are going to offend you. So please take this with you over the holidays as you're getting ready to gather around family and friends. People are prone to upset you. Learn how to release and forgive as quickly as you were offended. And let it go and move on with your passionate and powerful self. Let's keep doing what we're doing, you all. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up, our hopes up. Stay safe, stay sane. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. And until the next time we talk, tell somebody else, come on and let's talk the color. The man is just trying to get us ready for the holidays and just trying to help save our lives. Take care. Good night, everybody.